Cue the cheesy podcast music.
Welcome to Megafest, where we don't just manifest, we Megafest. I'm your host, Megs Malloy. I'm creating a community of silly and soulful working moms who are mostly happy, but know they're capable of more. More self-love, more self-esteem, more self-trust, more calm, joy, natural highs, more magic in the world, and more laughter. Each week, me and my guests will bring you tips and tricks on how to make the most of your one precious life. And we're going to make them effective and efficient because ain't nobody got time for that. I believe in you. I see the light in you. I want you to shine your light. I want you to become all that you're capable of. So let's hang out. Let's Megafest together. Yay! Here we are again, another Megafest. Thank you for being here. I'm so excited. This is episode number 9. 9, y'all. 9 episodes so far. I'm very proud of myself. I know you are celebrating with me because you are here on this journey as well. And we are just realizing our popularity. We are having soulgasms. We are opening up like a lotus flower. This has been such an exercise in self-trust, in consistency and stick-to-itiveness, as my Grammy used to say. Keeping the podcast going is a lot of work, but it's such a passion for me. It just lights me up. So I just cannot not do it. Thank you so much for being here and watching and listening and all of your feedback. I am so grateful for you. In fact, it was not too long ago that a friend of mine, Justine Cook, who is married to my husband's best friend since he was 5, so she's pretty much like my best friend in a way, a built-in bestie. So great when that happens. As I introduced her to what I do and what I talk about, what I love to help people with, she said, well, you're going to have to talk to my friend Minessa. So I went and looked up Minessa, and sure enough, yes, I do need to talk to Minessa. And guess what? You are going to hear me talk to Minessa today. This is so exciting. It's really so interesting when people start to find out what I do and then they recommend people who I should talk to because they get it. It's really cool when your friends get it and they're like, oh, here's this other person who also likes to talk about realizing their popularity. So thank you, Justine, for hooking us up. And side note, Justine knows Minessa from the college years, which sounds like Minessa's college years were a lot like my college years. We probably would have been friends back then too. Here is the official bio of Minessa Konecky. Minessa Konecky is the host of the podcast Stop Shitting All Over Yourself. Oh my gosh, so great. If you know me, that's like right up my alley. She's worked in business long enough to know that if you don't fit into the box society wants you in, you'll have a harder time achieving your dreams. And as you'll see, Minessa does not fit to a box. If you're listening, I should tell you she's got blue hair. Today she's wearing blue lipstick and some sparkly stars adorning her cheeks and eyes. It is amazing to me, but some people will not be very happy that she doesn't look like everyone else. Creating a community for people who don't fit in has been Minessa's passion and calling for 20 plus years. Minessa has worked in the corporate world and coached entrepreneurs on elevating their businesses. Minessa is an expert on how to level up without silencing who you are. Minessa takes great pride in her Pakistani heritage and being a member of the LGBTQIA+ community. Minessa lives in a seaside cottage on unceded and occupied lands of the, oh man, can I just say native peoples? The word of the day is vibration, which means a state of being, the atmosphere, or the energetic quality of a person, place, thought, or thing. You are definitely going to want to hear this conversation. Minessa is hilarious. Minessa talks about the importance of the words that we use because they cast magic spells on our life. Minessa talks about their magic asshole. Hello, I love it. And we get to hear about Minessa's TED Talk coming to a TED Theater near you, how joy comes from trying new things and getting out of our comfort zone. I know you're going to feel more joy after you hear our conversation. All right, let's get to it. Let's Megafest. Minessa!
Yay! Hello, so happy to be here.
Yay! Well, you are just adored and admired here in the Megafest studio, and I just think you are so cool, Minessa. I don't even really know you. We have a mutual friend, but the way that you are just so yourself is so admirable and like brave, I think. You know, a lot of us just conform with our Instagram hair and our...
Actually, you have pink hair in your Instagram. And so I was like, you know, if you were your pink bob and I've got my blue hair, we'd be such a great match right now.
That's right. We would. Yes. That is the true Megs Malloy.
We'll have you on my podcast and you can wear your pink wig.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah. I love it. And all the accessories, like I've got, you know, a headband with like a rainbow and fireworks coming out.
I love it.
Like heart-shaped glasses.
And thank you so much it's so nice for you to say that, because like the truth is that I didn't start like this. I didn't wake up one day and suddenly be like, I'm going to dye my hair blue. This was a slow transition over 4 years of like incrementally learning more about myself, increment therapy, coaching, that each step led me to unlocking another part of myself that I'm like, this is how I'm going to express it. This is what I'm going to do. And the blue hair, though, I've wanted since I was a child. Like, I've always thought that my hair was supposed to be blue, and it was some cosmic joke that it wasn't. So when I was in college, I tried to dye it myself. You know those little packets of bleach that you would get for like your mustache, right? The little packet. I didn't know anything about bleaching hair, so I got that and like put it all in my hair, and it didn't work.
It didn't work.
It didn't. I dyed my hair blue. It turned green. It was really awful.
No.
It was not good.
Oh, before the internet.
Yes, it was barely. The internet was a baby.
Yes. Oh, man. Well, it's a total vibe. I love your vibration, and it's like so good. It resonates with me completely.
I'm so glad. Thank you.
Yeah. Minessa, at the Megafest party, like a good Irishman, I will ask you, what will you have to drink? What's your drink of choice at the Megafest party?
Do you have weed instead? Because I stopped drinking years ago because I become an asshole when I drink. So we just decided that that's not a good thing for Minessa. So I'll smoke a joint and or take an edible, and then I'll be a blast. I will be absolute blast. But what are you drinking? I've got iced tea here.
Yes. Oh, I know. I like tea too. I have
love my iced tea. Oh, so good.
Oh, have
my God.
Iced tea. I have hot tea. Green tea with ginger, and I like any kind of tea, and I also like bubble water. That's because I don't drink anymore either.
Yeah, that's what all the millennials are drinking now, right? It's got like the little balls in it, right?
Oh, that's boba. That's boba.
Okay, not the same thing.
Sparkling water. Yeah, I like sparkling water.
Okay, my sister loves that too. But I like this millennials. I was like, they've got this little. I don't know what it is. Right. But I know that it has little balls in it of some kind.
Yeah, they don't have that in Massachusetts, huh?
I just wouldn't go get it. I think Alex might go looking for it somewhere. I've heard people talk about boba tea, and I'm like, yeah, no. I'm going to sit here with my iced tea or my Dr. Pepper, which is the delicious elixir of life.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. So peppery and spicy and sweet. So good.
I love it.
And then at any party that you might be at and somebody would say, what are you famous for? And that's what we're here to talk about today. So what are you famous for, Minessa?
I think right now, it depends on who you ask, but I think I'm mostly famous for my Maleficent horns. I have Maleficent horns, so locally I'm famous for that, but I think I'm mostly famous for my Stop Shitting All Over Yourself podcast that I've been hosting for probably I've actually had several iterations, but in this iteration that is the one that I think we've sort of, it grew into, is now a grown up, is we're in our 51st episode. So yeah, 51 episodes that you will now be on.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yay.
I'm really excited. It's my passion project.
How did you come up and settle on the name Stop Shitting on Yourself? Because I love that,
It's not me. So you had a guest on, who was it? Joanne Ingram, who was talking about how she's really bad. I think it was episode 5, maybe episode 4. Nope, it wasn't episode 5. It was episode 6, where she talked about how she's bad at naming things. And I was like, oh, I hear you. So I am not allowed to name things like ever. I used to run an online community, a business marketing for direct sellers and small business owners. And one of my clients, Jessica, I was going to call it something else, which was just terrible. I don't even remember what it is. It was really bad. And she said, you should call it Stop Shitting All Over Yourself. And I'm like, oh my God, Jess, I love you. Thank you so much. I'm actually going to use this name. Yeah. So Jess, thank you. You are the best. Because everyone loves the name. And I'm like, it's not me. It's not me.
But you ran with it and you like embody it. What about that resonates with you?
One of the things that I realized over the last several years, I realized about 5 years ago that I was just miserable, maybe 6. I just was so unhappy. I was at the lowest I'd ever been in my life. And I just didn't, honestly, I couldn't even get off the couch. It was just miserable. It took a while for me to slowly start to move myself out of it. But as I did through my work, with my therapists and various other coaches and just my own internal work, I realized that a lot of the things that I was giving myself shit about and the things that made me feel bad about myself were more stories about things that I was supposed to be, things that I should have done, things that I should be doing. Like when I was doing something now, I couldn't help myself from thinking of oh God, should I have picked this to do? Should I pick this to do? What should I do next, right? I got to hurry up and finish this so I can get to the next thing. And there were so many shoulds and expectations, and some of them were real, like in terms of like, you're expected to show up at work in the morning, right? Some of them were real like that. But some of them were just stories that were in my head. And I realized that I had brought in an architecture for a framework for approaching my life that had just been built over the years by random pieces of information that people give me, things that people say, you should do this, this is what's right, this is what, this will make you successful, you got to have a degree, whatever the rules are that everybody's decided. And that I felt bad for not living up to these things. And I examined anytime I felt bad about something, I really looked at it and I made it defend itself to be a thing that I should do. And I started to realize that, wow, there's very few of these things that I even want to be doing. And that for me was critical because as I started to think about this idea and started to release myself of all of the shoulds, I started to see that the unhappiness that a lot of us have, especially as women, I am trans, but I was raised, and socialized as a woman and a girl. The things that we are told to do, the things like we bring that with us to adulthood. And now in 2022, which is a completely different world from the world in which the one that we grew up, we're still adhering to a lot of these really antiquated ideas. We've never stopped to say, do I even want to do this? Is this even what I want? And so I want to encourage people to not feel like they should be doing something and instead maybe do things because they want to.
Wow. Yeah. So powerful. I love how you painted the picture of building a house on other people's expectations of you. Mm-hmm. And it's just, how can you live in that house?
It falls over.
Yeah. Your level of self-awareness is just like up here.
My therapist says the same thing. All my therapists, everyone I've ever met says, wow, your self-awareness is like insane. I'm like, I know, it's weird.
Sometimes a gift, maybe sometimes a bit of a curse in some ways. But
I now find that it's mostly a gift. Like It stopped being a curse. Like I think my self-awareness was before hindered by the filter that it went through. So like you're aware you're something, but then you're filtering it through the world's expectations and so on. And it comes out on the other end, right? And so once you get rid of that, then being self-aware becomes a gift because you don't have to feel bad or judge yourself about anything that you find. In order to be self-aware, you have to let go of judgment. You can't judge yourself for every little thing that you find because you will collapse under the weight of that exhaustion.
One of the things I read about your podcast was that you provide life-changing lessons in bite-sized chunks. So what is an example of a bite-sized chunk that you could give to us?
I got to be really honest. I think I may need to rewrite that because I'm not entirely sure that I do them in bite-sized chunks. However, I'll tell you one of my most bite-sized, it's actually one of my favorite videos that I ever did, and it's fairly recent, was I channeled this idea while I was meditating at the beach that magic, right? I'm a really big fan. I've always wanted to have magic. And as I meditate, I always imagine like there's sparkles coming out of my fingers. I love sparkles. So like sparkles are coming out because I'm meditating like this, and the sparkles are just coming out of my hand. And I realized that the power of the law of attraction, where you say the thing that you want, you create your vision board, you take those steps, that when you say words out loud, you can make them come to fruition. Like, for example, you are absolutely beautiful and have such a beautiful soul. I can see it. I've seen it from the moment that you messaged me, right? And
Thank you.
When I saw that, I was like, oh, I want to be on her podcast. And you invited me to your podcast. So I was like really excited, right?
Yay!
The words I just said are just words. That's it. But the impact it had on you is magic. And that's really important, because recognizing that we as human beings are all magical creatures and we all have the ability to impact others with our words, I think changes the way we walk through life. Because if you think that you're walking through life saying magic spells, you're going to be holding yourself really differently from if you're walking yourself through life feeling like you're small and insignificant. So that is one of my big life lessons of recently, that's like, now suddenly I'm just doing magic everywhere. I even went and bought this book, Practical Solitary Magic, because I'm like, you know what? Now that I recognize what magic is, I'm going to fucking use it.
Yes. Oh, I love that. You had me at sparkles. I was like, yes. Just keep the sparkles going. That's so good.
I love the sparkles, but I got my little, I actually can't tell that they're glittery here, but they're little stars. There you go. There.
Beautiful.
I did them for you.
Thank you. I am so appreciating them. That's like so good. It's kind of like a little bit Rainbow Bright, kind of.
I know, right? Or there was a song. Okay, so I'm going to date myself, and it wasn't a very popular song, but in the 1980s called Destination Unknown, and by Missing Persons. And she, in the video, puts a little mirror on her eye right here. And every time I put these stars on, I get that song stuck in my head, and then I just can't get it out. So right now, it's going through my head again.
What's the name of the song again?
It's called Destination Unknown by Missing Person. The guys in it actually ended up becoming the guitar player for Duran Duran.
Okay. Well, I'm going to have to go look up that song. And
when you see the video, you'll be like, oh my God, absolutely. Totally.
Like, to tie it all in. So when you are using your words as magic spells, it's not Destination Unknown. It's kind of like...
It is not. I know the destination that I'm trying to go to. You have to have a really clear idea. I think this is the biggest problem that almost all of us suffer with. We don't really know what we want. We say a lot of things. I want money. I want freedom. But like those are abstract words. They don't actually mean anything. What do you want?
And they could also be the constructs of other people's, what they want for you.
What they want for you also, right? Like,
right.
And I think one of the key elements in my work and my practice and the things that I do is really being clear on what I want, because you will get what you want. If you say the words out loud and you do the spells and you say the things, you will get what you want. So it's really important to be really clear and understand what you want, because you may not get what you think you want. So when Syra and I were younger, there was this guy that we both super adore. In fact, you know what's really funny? I think our friend knows this guy, and we adored him. And we really wanted to be friends with him because he was so cool. He was just so cool. And we also thought he was really hot. And we both wanted to hook up with this guy. So we said, we really want to be friends with Syra. Oh shit. Can you edit his name out? We really want to be friends with this guy. What we really wanted ultimately was to make out with him, but we weren't specific enough. So all we said was we were willing to be friends with him. So we totally were really good friends with him for years. We're still really good friends with him. That's all it ever was.
Oh, no.
Specific. And she and I that day learned about magic, and we were like, oh my God, we really need to be way more specific about this. So when you want something, be very, very specific. But like to your point, it's also like your parents want things for you. Your spouse wants things for you. Contemporary society and culturalization says these are the things you're supposed to want. If you are just going on that train, you may not realize that you're running towards a destination that you don't want to get to. This is where you find yourself, this is not my beautiful house. This is not my beautiful wife. How did I get here? And it's because you didn't think about what you really wanted. You were just going off of what you were just running on autopilot.
Minessa, do you have a process for finding out what you want?
I had to really slow down. I used to be super fast, doing everything at a billion miles an hour. So the process started with slowing down. I also meditate very regularly. I am fortunate enough to, I have a seaside cottage on the beach, so I get to go down to the beach and meditate. And for me, the wind is my most powerful space to be. So I'll go and meditate with the wind. And honestly, it really is about giving myself space and time to get in touch with myself. I also go to therapy. What I found that it is that it's not like a singular process or step or strategy as much as it's making sure that I'm taking the day-to-day habitual actions to take care of myself, to make sure that I do my self-care. And the third and probably the most important thing is I'm very close friends with my inner voice. We're really tight. And so there's no mean girl voice in my head. There's just me and a couple of other people, but you're the important ones. And we together have conversations and really kind of try to work through things. And I'm also very attuned to my intuition. So I have gut feelings. Oh, I have a magic asshole. This is great. So muscle testing is a thing that a lot of people do. I think that, oh my God, who was it? Bara was talking about the pendulum from that she does.
Yeah.
So my muscle testing is what I discovered is my body, when it's a yes, gives me a little mini orgasm. But when it's a no, my asshole opens and hurts. Okay. So I literally have a magic asshole. So if you ask me to do something where I'm like, oh, go do this, and my asshole opens up and it hurts, I'm like, oh, yeah, no, you know what? I don't think I'm going to do that.
Minessa, I don't know if you really even know how much I love this right now. Oh my God.
I kind of thought you might like that one.
Yeah. Oh, not only have you realized your popularity and you open up your receiving hole, but you have a magic asshole. This is so perfect. We're like soul spirit sisters or something. This is so great. Okay, so that's really helpful.
It is very helpful because I know then when something bad is about to happen. So a while back, my wife and I were driving somewhere, and I'm like, suddenly my asshole starts hurting really bad. And I'm like, something is wrong. I was like, I just don't know what it is. And I was like, but it was just, nothing was going on. Then I see her pulling over and I'm like, what's going on? And she goes, there's a cop behind us. And so I had actually picked up on the fact that there was a cop with the lights on before. And my asshole was telling me, and I actually wanted to say slow down, but I thought, oh my God, I need her to pull over. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Tell her to pull over because my magic asshole hurts? How do you tell somebody this?
Right.
She knows now about the magic asshole, so now I know just to say to her, I'm like, listen, it's time to pull over. She'll be like, is your asshole talking? I'm like, yep.
Yeah.
Time to pull over, dear.
Oh, that is so wonderful. And I do agree that when we slow down, we can make space for, as Bara said, our Jessica, which is our intuition, our quiet coworker. I feel very fortunate as well. You're on one side of America and I'm on the other coast of America, and I get to do a lot of meditating on the beach too. And it just is
best,
we're so lucky.
So good. I feel really, really fortunate. My life is totally blessed
to be able to live near this great, mysterious, magical ocean.
I can tell you though, so I live on a cliff on the ocean, and so there is nothing like a storm. When there's a storm out there or a nor'easter, we are the human shield between the ocean and the rest of the country. So you're welcome for us protecting. I'm actually protecting Massachusetts. I don't think I protect that far into the country, but I definitely protect into Massachusetts. I look down the hill and I'm like, you gotta thank me, Mike. I'm protecting you.
I'm sure they're really grateful. Oh man, you're very brave too.
I didn't actually, I think my wife and I said that if we had known, we may not have bought this house because it's fine now. This is our perfect house. There's also a lifestyle choice. You got to be a hardy soul to live on a cliff. The house shakes in the wintertime when the snowstorms come. It's like being on a boat.
Whoa. Yeah, I don't know if I could do that.
I don't know if I can do it either, but it's too late now.
You can come to California in the winter,
where it's safe and not quite so crazy.
Maybe. I don't know about crazy.
House to come back to. I'd rather be in the house if it falls into the ocean because I have 3 dogs. I don't want them to be alone.
That's true. Yeah. Okay, so you have 3 fur babies. Wow.
I do. 3 mini huskies. They are adorable. And then 1 Talon who has left us, but still with us in spirit.
This is an awesome episode of Megafest, but I'm just going to call a quick TO to tell you about the Soulgasm Society. My mission is to create a community of supportive and uplifting women who want to know how to make their one short precious life all the more joyful, add in some play and celebration, and learn the science behind how do you make your brain happy, all the techniques on how to calm your nervous system, and how to not fly off the mommy hamster wheel, because we can't all stop working and you can't really get rid of your kids for more than 2 weeks. You gotta deal with it. And the best way to make your life happy is from the inside out. If you're not gonna do it for yourself, do it for your kids. They will see a difference. If mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. And there is so much truth to that. So the Soulgasm Society is your answer. Come join us. You can click the link in the bio of my Instagram or the link in the show notes. I can't wait to have multiple simultaneous soulgasms with you. All right, now back to Megafest. So Minessa, back on the words have magic spells. So I saw that one of your words, was it for 2022, is surrender, and then is your 2023 word acceptance, or how did that work?
You know, I've already done acceptance. That was earlier on. The first word that I picked was fearless, because when I was at my worst, I realized that I was afraid of everything. I would say no to everything because I was so afraid of what could happen. I was terrified of just what people would think about if I fail. Like, there's, you name it, there's always a what if. You've got that. And this was when me and my inner voice were not close. So there was a lot of like, you suck, you're horrible. We hadn't worked through our issues yet. So fearless was number one. And the reason why I picked that one was because I wanted to prove to myself, I needed to learn how to trust myself again. And in order to do that, I had to say yes to more things. So it started with like the littlest of things. The first thing I ever did, I won't forget, I was playing Nintendo. It was Mario Brothers on the Switch, and it was on TV, and it froze. And I had the controller here, and I was like, oh, I had no idea what to do. I completely fell apart. You'd think that like somebody had, you know, basically said you're homeless in 2 minutes. I was just like, I can't do this. I don't know what to do. And I was like, Alex, I need your help. And she was playing a video game with her headphones on, so she didn't hear me. And I was like, I cannot fix this. There's no way. And then I'm sitting there crying on the couch, and I'm like, how did I get here? Like, I used to run, you know, multi-million-dollar companies. How did I get here? And I'm crying because I'm like, how did I get here? And I'm like, okay, Minessa, just, you know how to do this. Pick up the switch, drop it. Pick up the switch, drop it. And I started to feel like Kill Bill, you know, like the bride where she's like, move, little toe, move, little. And I'm just like, through the sheer force of will, I got up, I picked up the Nintendo Switch, dropped it back in, and everything worked. And that was the first step. And it was small, but it built trust in me that I was capable of doing something. Every little action that I took after that helped me to build on that. And so then I was ziplining on a cruise, which is like tiny little zip line, only this big, but ultimately ended up leading to this year where surrender was, I needed to trust the universe. I've been trying to control things for too long. I'm a control freak. I have to know everything, do all the things. And I realized it was just awful. And I was like, you know what? This year I'm going to surrender to the universe. I'm going to stop trying to control things. And I basically tried to find every way possible that I could surrender to outcomes, surrender to other people's feelings, and so one of my big ones was I did a really long zip line. I believe it's a mile long, maybe. It's in Foxwoods, and it's like up super high, like 60, 70 floors. Like, it's really high. I got up there and I wasn't feeling afraid. And I said, okay, what do I need to do? Like, I was surprised I wasn't afraid. And I was like, all right, the steps for feeling safe are, have you done all the things that are necessary to protect yourself so that you are safe doing this? I have. Do you trust these people? I do. Then now there's nothing to be afraid of. Now you just surrender to the experience. And holy shit, that was a great, I'm going to go back and I got a 5-pack. I'm going to go back and just do it 5 times. It's so good. So surrender was really about me learning to let go of control. And it has been so powerful. And it's funny you should bring up my word of 2023 because I haven't picked one yet. But I really need to think about, like, for me, like, meditate on the beach a bit and like, what is my intention for myself in this next year? I actually think it's going to be something like explosion, supernova. It's going to be something big because the last 6 years have been me cocooning, preparing, really almost designing myself in my own image, like whatever I wanted to be, designing that person. But the other day I got a vision in my dreams that was very loud that said, it's time. And I just know what that means. It's time. I got to stop preparing and just go. And so I think this next year is going to be very interesting. It's going to be more active, less surrendering.
Can I ask, what does that look like for you?
Oh, yeah, totally. So I have two things that I do. So I have my mission, which is my Ambassador of Joy work, my podcast, things like that. And then I have the thing that I do to make money, which is research administration consulting, which is a really amazing, oh my God, it's such an amazing job. If you do research administration, you are guaranteed to be employed for the rest of your life. It is such a great career, such a great place to be. It's very female dominated. So it's really fabulous. I learned so much about optimization and how to live a joyful and successful life without having to put yourself into a box, that my next year is really going to be all about training, teaching, showing up, education, helping institutions who have been doing things the same way for so many years, helping them to move into this new world of, working from home, because a lot of places are still doing the same thing. They're just doing it now working from home. The problem with that is nobody is being taught how to create proper boundaries. How do you work from home and have a morning of your own without jumping and checking your computer? How do you clock out at night so that you can have healthy, rejuvenating time with your family instead of constantly checking your phone and working? And these are all strategies and tactics. So I'm bringing what I learned in my online business coaching and marketing and things like that into that space. The other part of it, which is also exciting, and this one is actually kind of this is my star. I feel like this is my star inside exploding in a good way. So I've been working really hard to establish myself locally. I'm really into my local community and really want to help the South Shore of Massachusetts. So that's my big thing. I'm also very, very invested in ensuring that my brothers and sisters of color who are chronically ill or neurodivergent are getting more exposure. And so I really want to use my podcast then, because I have an audience. I'm not afraid to speak my mind. I'm not afraid to go out there. I learned so many amazing things from so many amazing teachers who are not getting as broad of an audience that I would love for them to have. So I want to be able to share their messages, share the teachers that I have met. I want to amplify the voices of others less than I want to hear my own self-talk. So for me, this next year is going to be all about PR work, getting on a lot of podcasts so that I can filter people to my podcast, where I am then featuring other people who they can then follow, and really, because I don't actually do any coaching anymore. My sweet spot is in strategy. So you can tell me, listen, this is what's going on in my business. Tell me what's wrong. And I can say, oh, this, and this is what you need. And go to this person, and this person. I'm like the business whisperer, but I don't actually do any of the things anymore. I prefer to send people to others who this is what their life is. So if let's say I'm all right, your problem is that you need email, right? Your email, you're losing people after they come to your page because there's no email option. I would just send you to Bella Blue Solutions rather than say, oh, let me help you, or I have this course, right? Why don't I send you to someone who does this for a living? And then when you're done, you come back and say, okay, everything's working now, but this is a problem. All right, now you do this. So I'm excited about all these things. The next year is going to be full of opportunity.
Yay! See, that's a magic spell you are casting right now.
And good sister witch to cast with.
Oh, thank you. Well, Minessa, you are realizing your popularity right now.
I am. I'm as I go. It's fun. It's sometimes the imposter still gets me, but fortuitously I have tools that help me to navigate that fairly quickly rather than sitting in it for a while and marinating in dirty dishwater.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because, that ego will always try and keep you down and safe. And it's you just have to say, we're not doing that anymore. We're doing this now, and have your tactics ready, because it's going to come. That's so good. That's so awesome. I love that. And you are an ambassador of joy. Where did you get this idea that you could experience more joy? Or how do you kind of take a minute and let more joy in?
I think it was that when I realized we all want to be happy. I think that's ultimately whatever everybody wants. In the end, it's happiness and contentment and not being afraid. I grew up in a really violent city during a really violent time. I was held hostage when I was 14. My school was shot at multiple times. I cannot even count the number of people who died to gun violence when I was younger. And as a half American, we had times where we couldn't leave the house because it wasn't safe to leave the house. But I was happy. When I think back to my childhood, I don't think of those things. Those are things that did happen, and I definitely went through them, and they were terrifying, and it was trauma. But when I think about my childhood, I actually think about a lot of happiness. And going back to me sitting on the couch being miserable, right? I'm in pain or chronically ill or, any of the many challenges that I face now or any of us face now, I got really interested in this idea of when I was a child, I could experience joy while also suffering through trauma. And those two things were not mutually exclusive. And I realized that I had been saying for the last God knows how long, when I do this, when this is over, when I make this much money, when this happens, when I make that sale, then I will be able to rest and succeed or whatever, do whatever the thing is. And I was like, why? I clearly had the skill at one point to be able to be joyful at the same time and be happy and enjoy my life and also be suffering, right? I was able to do both. Why can't I do that now? And so I started to really examine from curiosity how that could be accomplished. And what I realized was new experiences. This is actually my TED Talk. I actually submitted this as a TED Talk. I'm going to refine it now. I'm working with Maria Milagros to help write my TED Talk, where I'm going to kind of redefine it a little bit. But where I know I'm so excited, where I talk about how when you're younger, whenever you have a new experience, your mind is challenged in a completely different way. You get a dopamine hit of newness. It's really exciting and it creates joy within you. And accomplishment. It creates so many great feelings, releases a lot of hormones and endorphins, right? But when you're younger, everything's new. Like everything's new. You're like barely hatched. You can have new stuff all the time. But as we get older, you have to really work hard to seek out new things. And eventually we end up, living in a prison of our own making that is our comfort zones, our routines, and so we don't try a lot of new things. And I don't want to try that sushi. Ew, I don't want to do that thing, right? We just say no to a lot of things because we're comfortable where we're at. We like our comfort zone. It's comfortable, right? But it's also what's keeping us from experiencing joy because we're not giving ourselves the opportunity. We don't do it often enough to get used to it, to where it's something that we're like, oh yeah, I'll try that. Oh yeah, I'll do that. I will give myself the opportunity for joy or do that thing. I started to seek out new experiences in the fearless phase where I was like, okay, I am going to say yes to things. This was my year of yes. My rule was if there was something that I was saying no to because I was afraid, then I had to say yes to it. Oh. And if it was something that I didn't want to do because it was unsafe, then the answer is no. Right? So I had to create a difference between fear and lack of safety. And the more I tried new things, the more joyful my life got. And I was like, this is it. We have to try new things and open ourselves up to new experiences and look for new experiences. And then I realized that everybody around you just wants to be happy. And I feel like I found the secret sauce is really to expose yourself to new things on a routine basis.
Absolutely. I think I saw somewhere that a person's peak experiences, as they kind of call it, where things are new and exciting and you work toward it and it's like the big deal. Most of your peak experiences in your life happen in your first 20 years. And then after that, it's just like maybe one here or there, maybe you retire, like you might go on a trip of a lifetime once. And it doesn't have to be a super big peak. It could just be, something that is new, like you said.
I'll tell you what I tried once. I tried a date. Okay, so I hate dates. I know I hate dates. They're disgusting. Everything about dates is gross. I went to a restaurant with Alex and there was this goat cheese bacon wrap date thing. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try it. Okay. So I take a bite from the date with the goat cheese and the bacon in the hopes that it's going to make things better. And I cannot even begin to tell you, the second I bit into it, I could feel the bile rising in me. And I was like, oh God. And I'm looking around and I'm what do I do? And I was like, should I go through it? Like, should I run to the bathroom, spit it in there? But I didn't know where the bathroom was. And Alex was like, just spit it in your napkin. I've literally never done that. But I was like, I can't chew this and I can't swallow this. Like, this is not going in my body. So I spit it out in the napkin and I've never done anything like that. Just no way am I eating this. I loved it. It's a great story. I tell the story. It was a new experience. So even though I didn't like it and it was the smallest thing ever, it did everything that a new experience is supposed to do. So you don't even have to like the new experience for it to actually accomplish the goal of giving you that dopamine hit, because you're going to be like, I tried it even though I didn't want to, even though I was scared.
Yes. And then you get that kind of building up of self-trust too, that I am a person who tries new things.
Yes, exactly.
I had a thought about something you said earlier where you worked on your self-trust. Because I also did not realize that I didn't have self-trust or that I needed to work on it. I didn't even know that was a thing until I read, I forget, it's by MJ Ryan. It's a book about self-trust. And I was like, wow, yeah, this is what I've been missing. And then you talked about trusting the universe too, kind of like that things would work out for you. It sounds like you also needed to go through a moment of trusting your surroundings too, because if you did grow up in a place where there was all this violence happening around you and a constant threat of your life, that feeds into one of the 6 basic subconscious fears is, am I safe? And really, like, that was a real fear. It wasn't even a subconscious and a real fear.
Like an actual fear.
Yeah. So I see how, working on, trusting yourself, trusting the outcome, and then trusting your environment to know that things are safe there too.
Yeah, absolutely. That is really critical. And it's a hard thing to do. Therapy helps a lot with that. So I cannot stress how important my therapist was in this. Like none of this would happen without therapy.
Oh, I agree. Yeah. God bless the therapist. And one thing I wanted to bring up as well is when you were kind of talking about how you went from a depressed sort of state where you couldn't really get off the couch, and now you feel like you've built the chrysalis and you're coming out and you're spreading your wings and you're like a supernova, just ready to explode and shine. It brings to mind this idea of realizing popularity, but also that I have found for myself, when I suppress my light, when I'm not recognizing who I am inside, that I tend to get depressed. And do you find that for yourself as well?
Absolutely. I have a rule now. Like I am showing up as me, and people can take it or leave it. Now, the problem with that is that there are consequences. Some people will choose to leave it, and I have to be okay with that. So that's part of like the surrender, is just letting go of other people's decisions, because it's more, we all have our own journeys in this world, and not everybody's meant to be there. Sometimes you learn something about yourself and you're like, oh shit, I didn't know I was hiding that. Like for example, when I realized that I was non-binary, I was like, well, fuck. And I look back on my life, it's like been through my whole life. It's been there. When I was 11, I said I was supposed to be a boy, and nobody believed me. And I was like, okay, well, I guess this is just how it is. You don't even think about it. But then suddenly I was like, oh my God, I'm trans. And suddenly a weight was lifted off. So absolutely, depression is a 100% a guaranteed outcome if you're not living whatever your truth is.
That was my Barbara Walters moment. Not very Barbara.
I have a meeting at 3. I'm just going to let Tanya know I'm going to be a little bit late.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. It's fine. I just wanted to let her know that I'm going to be about, what the hell is she? Tanya, where are you? Okay. I'm recording a podcast. I'll be on in, say 10?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, 3:05. There we go. Done.
Okay.
Right. Okay, just wanted to let her know.
Okay, so here we'll do these pretty quickly. I think in the interest,
too much. That's part of the problem.
No. I love listening to you and just rapping with you. This is so amazing, and we had to do our little introduction, like to our 15 minutes.
Well, we recorded it, so it can be part of the podcast too.
What? Okay. Just out of curiosity, do you know your Clifton's strengths by chance?
I don't even know what a Clifton strength is.
Okay. Well, I have to send it to you to find out.
Yeah, I know my human design.
Oh, okay. What's that?
I'm a manifesting generator, 5'2".
Okay.
Which I can't remember what that means, but it's cool.
That's what it is. Yeah.
I mean, they're all good, but oh no, I know what it means. You know what it really helped me to learn about that was that I have always known that in order for me to come up with a good idea, I need to hear something first, and that will trigger an idea I can't create from a vacuum. And I always thought that made me deficient. And then I realized, oh, it's just my human design. It helped me a lot, by the way, to accept myself. Was just, oh, this is great. This is who I am. Fabulous. Now I don't feel bad anymore. I get who I am. Also, my astrological shit, I did that too. Wow. Life changing. You get to learn so much more about yourself. I love things that let you learn yourself, your framework, because each one will teach you something else about why you are the way you are, how this came. And it's such a beautiful journey of self-exploration.
Yes. And acceptance as well. Mm-hmm. And when you can just be like, yeah, this is how I am, and I don't have to feel bad about it. That's such a gift.
Yep.
And really empowering. I usually ask, what is your best vacation you ever took? And then I ask, what song is going to get you on the dance floor? So you have your choice.
I will answer which song will get you on the dance floor. Oh, man, there's so many. So I'm going to go with Mr. Kitty, who is a problematic but very talented young musician out of Austin, Texas. He has an album called Ephemeral, and it is just really any song, any one of those will get me on the dance floor. But I'll tell you something, I'm an 80s freak, so you play on Pour Some Sugar on Me, and I am just jumping out there, and I'm going to dance the fuck out of that song. Like, I mean, okay, honestly, my sciatica is way too agonizing, so at this moment, I'm not getting on any dance floors, but in the event that I was not in pain, it's Pour Some Sugar on Me for sure. Or, see, there's just so many. A Little Respect by Erasure. That's another really, really good one. Take on Me by Aha. Like anything from like that 80s synth pop era, you're going to usually get me on the floor.
Awesome. I love it. Well, Minessa, you're just so wonderful. I just adore you. And thank you so much for sharing your supernova with us. Really, we only use the word of the day once, but really your vibe is like, you are a vibe.
Well, I'm going to use the word of the day now because I have to say, like, you have such a great demeanor. I love the way you interview. You aspire to, like, I want that calm energy that you have. That is one of the things that I'm working on right now is, like, when talking to you, I feel like I go, right? And I feel like you are a very calming presence. Like, I feel like you could easily do a meditation podcast and I would listen to it. Absolutely. Like, just, I feel like you make me feel safe and comfortable answering any questions. It's no wonder that you became a podcast host. Absolutely no wonder.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And I'm going to have you on my podcast so I can then ask you questions about how did you end up doing this? And I want to learn all about you. So we're just going to do like the flip side where I'm going to just go over you and tell you all the great things because I seriously love your branding. I love your website. Like there's so many things I love that I was like, shit, I'm going to have her on my podcast. So I can ask her all these questions.
Awesome. I can't wait. Thank you, Minessa.
Thank you so much. You were such a delight. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast too.
Isn't Minessa a vibe? Wow. Minessa is just so Minessa, and that's all there is to it. Did you notice how their word for 2023 was like supernova explosion? I think it's a great idea to pick a word of the year or a word of the month or until you outgrow it. But you can see how Minessa went through year by year, not overnight. They did their growth. They took the time to do a self-inventory. Minessa came to a point where their chrysalis was ready to transform into a butterfly or a supernova, whatever your vibe might be. You know what I mean? So what is your word for 2023? We are coming to the end of the year here, and it's a great time to get quiet when you can. Think about what you actually do want. Think about what's going to work for you instead of the construct of what everybody else has said that you should do. And then claim that word. In fact, I want to know what word you are claiming. Will you direct message me or text it to me or email me or however you want to get it to me? Put it in a comment. But I want to hear, what is your word going to be? And in the next episode, I'll tell you what my word is going to be. Minessa is so fun. They are so inspiring. Go give Minessa some love at their website, Minessa.com. Check out their color explosion on the website. I was really impressed. I also want to know, what new uncomfortable thing are you going to try this week? Try something that scares you just a little bit, doesn't make you unsafe, but just rocks you a little bit so you can get that infusion of dopamine and really have a great story to tell. What is going to be your bacon-wrapped goat cheese date? These are all things that we believe at Megafest. Being your one unique self, getting in touch with yourself and finding out, what do you really want? What are your strengths? What are your desires? And being ambassadors of joy, knowing that we are capable of experiencing more joy. No matter how much our ego and our inner critic wants to hold us back, there is more joy to be had and more joy to be spread. So joy to the world, and don't just manifest. Megafest!